listening to Power Producers Shop Talk, where we are refining and redefining the sales game by equipping you with the tools you need to differentiate yourself in the marketplace.
Well, it's like when we audit the mod with Logic and give them the action items that they're going to use to lower their total cost of risk.
Tactical skills that will help you provide deliverable value to your clients and prospects.
Technology is not an expense, it's an investment. Look at what Think HR has done for our clients and even our team. It's an amazing product, and I'm so thankful we have that.
And action items that you can provide to take your prospects and clients to the next level.
Things are changing for us in 2021. Not all big business anymore. Now that we have CoverWallet on our team, it's amazing that we're going to be able to write small business profitably.
This is Power Producer Shop Talk. Production redefined. Are you ready to feel the power?
Hey everybody, it is Power Producers Shop Talk time, and we are wrapping up our CRM series, episode 6, and we're going to talk about how you use your CRM for service functions in the agency, which is something that we do. And I like it because it got us out of having to use a standalone ticketing option. So let's talk service, Mr. Lefevre.
Service. Absolutely.
So with HubSpot, it's what? Sales, service, and marketing are the 3 segments that we have?
Actually, yes. You had, HubSpot comes with a generic CRM, just if you just want to have an online place to put contacts.
That's where they get you. That's where they get you. It's free. It's free. And then you can't live without it. You want more.
And then they have marketing, sales, and service that revolve around that those contacts and companies in the database. And service is intended for multiple things, but primarily, service. It's for customer service agents. It's for service-based workflows that, after the deal is closed, what do you do? Now, as I've seen it or have talked with other clients about it, in their marketing, in their agency management systems, there are tools that, hey, you need to do these things, and then they go off and do them. But, here we are back again is to, is that just telling you what to do, or is it creating an automated string of activities and tasks and assignments based upon certain characteristics of your client or of the business that they're doing with you? So,
Well, here's what I know. It's not integrated with your CRM if it is. And I mean, the salespeople are still going to be living in the CRM. What I like about the way the service piece is done, number one, I think we should define a couple things that we're going to talk about during this episode. Number one, when it's a sales-oriented situation, they operate in tasks, right? And if it's service, they operate in tickets. And so there's 2 distinct things. Now, here's the fun part. You can assign a task to a service person, right? They could have tasks and tickets. But I don't think we can assign tickets to salespeople because they're not part of the service package that we have. Is that accurate?
No, not unless you make them part of the service team, then obviously they can, but typically no, because
there's no reason for me to do that for them.
Right, they're not there.
Not service and shit.
Yeah, but you can have automation that notifies them.
Beard.
Right, you can have automation that says, hey Kyle, we are at this step, we just did this, or this is where we're at in the process, just so you're up to date,
aware,
on what's going on.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what we've done, right? So just using like one of the quoting, one of the service pipelines for quoting, when it moves to a different stage, it flags a task to Kyle or me or whoever the producer is, letting them know this has been moved to this stage, and it's not every step along the way, but it's one where it gets to the point where they need
when something needs to be done. Yeah,
boom. You move the ticket over to the next column, and it fires off an email and a push notification to Kyle saying, hey, look, this deal just moved over to this stage, and now
quote received or whatever, so that we know that we're good to.
Yeah, But for us, the thing I like about it is, we want to drive client experience. We want people to realize that we do business differently. And so just the general onboarding process of getting people onboarded into the agency and the email sequences that go out to them, welcoming them, introducing them to the team via video, letting them know we're putting a client welcome kit out in the mail for them, and we're going to follow up to make sure that they've gotten it. And then having the ticket integrated with that process. So it automatically creates a ticket for somebody to go in and create the actual welcome kit and make sure that we've got the vehicle ID cards and that we've got all of these things. And you certainly can do that in an agency management system to some degree. The issue you run into is, again, it's not integrating sales and service in the same piece, right? So that when that whole onboarding thing is done and we notify the producer that produced that account that it's done, and they should follow up via phone to make sure that they've gotten all of the information, that nothing's gone to spam, that their client welcome kit's there, and then just to sort of bring closure to the whole onboarding process. It would be much more cumbersome inside of an agency management system. I don't care what system it is.
For sure.
So, David, you've done service-related stuff with ticketing in other capacities, other systems rather, aside from HubSpot, but you've also done it in other agencies as well. What are some of the things that you're seeing that people are using that's the CRM from a service aspect for outside of simply onboarding? We gave a great example in the last meeting in terms of claims. Claims was a big one.
Yeah.
Right.
So, you can set up service and, to activate based upon, website service. So I want to put a CI request, right, in there. If somebody's looking for a certificate of insurance, you're just going to drop a form up on your website and they're going to fill that out rather than having to call you. And that can drop into service tickets as well. So you've got, any kind of customer service activity that you can think of that is important, to avoid a phone call is what it really boils down to, or even avoid an email because you just don't know whether the, certificate of insurance, it's really important that they get it. And if you're on vacation or their agent's on vacation or somebody's not there or they're sick, etc., or it's a weekend, a lot of things can get in the way. But if you instruct your clients to go in and use your website for that CI request, it's going to go into that workflow regardless of who's there, and it's not going to get dropped. It's not going to get, fall through the cracks and get missed. Mm-hmm. So that's a big one. That's a huge one, is certificates of insurance and ensuring that those requests don't get lost.
Well, for us too, again, now we're talking about how all the pieces come together. Web form. Somebody needs to request a certificate. They need to request a driver change. They need to request a vehicle change, or really any service work on their policy. If you have an automation sequence inside your CRM that educates people what they need to do in order to get these things done, and that is for them to bookmark the link to that form so that they can pull it up, and then they fill out the form with exactly what they need, attach whatever documentation may be necessary to complete the task, and then hit submit. Now you've got a task going to the producer, letting them know that a new request has been initiated. A ticket is assigning it to whoever's next in the queue to make sure that gets done. Mm-hmm. And you can see it through to closure. And if you think about it, it saves so much time because it's not a lot of back and forth on the phone. It's not a lot of back and forth on email. And, you're basically getting people to do business the way you want them to do business with your agency. And they like the fact that it's way more streamlined. Oh, you mean all I have to do is click a couple of buttons here on this and give you the VIN number of the new vehicle or whatever, and you can handle it all? Great. They may do that at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. They're not going to be able to call you and get that done at that point.
Yeah, true. Now, and if you want to take it to a whole new level, you can integrate things like chatbots that connect to your CRM and utilize data there as well. That is a common way to do things, but I haven't seen it so much in small agency market, simply because it again, it's the same thing. You've got to think everything through, And it's difficult to do that. It's difficult to go in and say, all right, what are all the possibilities? I'm going to want them to follow and get to
Quote,
an eventual
service,
result. It's a challenge. And,
and I'll tell you what, man, the gold standard for that, by the way, in my opinion, there's two of them. It's either Chris Green from Flood Guru or Steve Holly from Holly Insurance up in Virginia.
Yeah.
Both of them use chatbots. Holly does really, really well. I know it's taken him a long time to perfect it. Both of the guys happen to be HubSpot users, so I pay a little more attention to them. I'm sure there's other people out there that have done great with chatbots, but Steve has done a really good job. And, I think part of the deal is with the chatbot is you just have to realize it's not going to be the be-all, end-all for everything. But if it's something like I need to make a driver change, you can pick up on those keywords, man. I mean, I wouldn't admit this. Well, I guess I am admitting it in public, but I've built a couple chatbots for the old e-commerce side of some of the, my little hobby business that I have on the side. And, it works, man. It takes a lot off your plate. It probably reduced the number of emails that we had to actually interact with by maybe 30 or 35%, but that's still chunk. 30 or 35%. You know, I mean, the other ones, we did need to interact. There's nothing you can automate about it. Somebody's pissed off that their package didn't arrive in time or whatever else. You're only going to exacerbate the issue with a chat bot at that point.
Right.
But if it's somebody who's like, hey, look, how do I change this? How do I cancel? How do I do this? How do I do that? You're going to pick up on those tags in the chat bot. It's going to take you to the knowledge base and link to the articles. These are the three things that should answer your question. Did they? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, boom, it'll flag one of us and we'll get in touch with them via email. But we tell them it could be a couple of hours before we get back because we're not always sitting in front of the computer. So where I get irritated with that is when the chatbot gives them the answer to the question and they don't click and read the article and they say it didn't answer their question. Then I just say you probably shouldn't do business with us anymore. And this is, by the way, let me clarify, this is not at Florida Risk. This is an e-commerce business that we have had in our family for a number of years, and it's really become quite an inconvenience. And so I'm ready to sunset it anyhow. So no love lost there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so if you want to add on other things into that too, I mean, if you've got, just depending upon what you're assigning, your service people to do, how your agency's set up and who's responsible for what actions. But, we already talked about, creating triggers 6 months prior to, your policy renewal and creating a series of sales activities around that. Well, you can do the same thing. If that's a responsibility of an account manager, i.e. not sales manager, you can go do the same thing there, where you're essentially going task or ticket driven, create it, based upon a certain date, based upon a certain activity, and automatically get those service processes started. That's another way to look at that. But it really boils down to, where do you want that, how you have your agency set up and who's responsible for what. And what platform are they using in order to do their job? And what's going to be again? It's an issue of productivity, performance, and if you're going to, for example, if you're already using Epic or something like that, and you've been doing it for years and years and years, and you've got a process established, and your account managers, your support staff are it's flowing and it's working. The real question is, do you want to, is there going to be an advantage, price performance, quality, and moving that process into a different platform that's integrated with sales? And maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but it's something you've got to look at, you have to evaluate, and you want to strongly consider, because the whole reason we're talking about CRM to begin with is about improving performance, improving quality, improving productivity. And the last thing you want to do is, upend the apple cart and end up 6 months later regretting your decision because you did nothing but create more complexity, more challenges, more costs, more holes that things fall through. You just got to think it through completely before you make that switch. But if you think it through and it makes sense to do it, act on it and endeavor to persevere and make it happen.
There you go.
Will that work for you, David?
Yeah. What haven't we talked about on service? I mean, I kind of feel like he just threw down the hammer, and we're ready to wrap it up.
Pretty much. I mean, it's what it is. So.
Yep. All right, cool. Well, guess what, people? We realize it's Friday, and every now and again, we'll give you a little treat, give you a short episode of Shop Talk so you can get your weekend started early. I mean, this one was actually just shy of 15 minutes, so I am going to spend the last 50 seconds or less talking to you about how to get in touch with David Lefevre to talk to you about what CRM could do in your agency. And you need to go to www.SalesPWR.com. Just drop him a line. Say, hey, man, I'm struggling over here. Can you help a brother out and jump on a call quick? Let's see what your thoughts are about this. And you never know what that'll lead to. But I can tell you could call a lot worse people. You'd call me and ask about your CRM. I'm going to tell you, call Lefevre.
Yep. Always happy to share.
Don't call me.
I'm more than willing to spend a few minutes just throwing out ideas and sharing what I think might be a good route to go for you.
There you go. That sounds awesome, man.
Always willing to take a call.
Yeah, we appreciate you being on for the last 6 episodes. This was great value, good stuff to talk about, and we are going to wrap it up. Everybody enjoy your weekend. See ya.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
You've been listening to Power Producers Shop Talk. You can follow us at the Power Producers Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to take your game to the next level, check out our commercial insurance training course at killingcommercial.com or visit Amazon to pick up a copy of our international best-selling book, The Extra 2 Minutes.